Well, I don't know about you, but I know I have this problem. Often over the summer, we ditch our regular schedule and routine, and I think that's especially true for anyone with a family, with kids. But school starts next week, and it's time for us all to get back into healthy eating habits. We're bringing in Andrea Holwegner, registered dietitian, to help give us some guidance on this, because we need help sometimes, Andrea. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. It's so nice to see you.
Thank you for having me. I know this topic about talking about habits isn't particularly maybe like really cool and exciting, but I promise you in 20 years as a dietitian, this is the stuff that's super important for long-term change.
Oh, 100%. And I think the key word here is hack, because when I hear there's a hack, I hear, oh, we're about to simplify it for you and break it down kind of in terms that we can all understand. And I love this. So let's dive right in. I am dying to know, what are your 3 favorite habit hacks?
Okay, number 1, what we want to do is called habit stacking. In fact, actually, this concept was originally created by a behavioral scientist, B.J. Fogg at Stanford, and he called it the tiny habits recipe. And then James Clear in the book Atomic Habits kind of renamed it to habit stacking, which I think is a cool term. And so what a habit stack is taking something that you already do as a cue and then layering it with another habit so that it becomes really automatic. And the key here is we want to make it tiny. We want to make it something that you can do in 30 seconds, up to 2 minutes at the very most. Oftentimes when people think about changing a habit, they binge change the habit and they try to accomplish way too much. And where a habit starts is those tiny little stacks where we can do one little thing after the next. And so the recipe for doing a habit stack is, number 1, first of all, use the word after I, and then you're going to fill in the blank. And the second part is I will fill in the blank. So to give you an example, one of the things that's actually really hard for me is hydration. Even though I'm a dietitian, I constantly have to work at this. And so the habit stack that I did was, I love coffee in the morning. You can see my cappuccino maker behind me here. And so I have a habit stack where once I flick the switch on my cappuccino maker, so after I turn on the machine, part 2 is I will pound a tall glass of water. And that habit stack has really, because there's one thing that I'm already doing and then I've added on to it. And this has allowed me to make sure the very first moment of the day, I'm really great at getting that first glass of water in.
Oh, I think that's so brilliant. So it's like, after I eat some French fries, then I have to follow it up with 2 handfuls of veggies, something like that. I really like that. And that is something that's super easy to remember. So thank you so much. These habits that you build right now can really lead to long-term changes. So I think that it's probably better than just jumping on the latest trend, because this is something that could last years to come. Would you say that's correct, Andrea?
Again, people try to follow the latest and greatest trends, and it's not knowledge about nutrition that often gets people off track. Usually they have too much knowledge. It's the implementation of the knowledge and establishing those habits that are more on autopilot and make it easy so you don't even have to think, that our dietitian team spends a lot of time working with people on. So number 2, if we're getting into these habit stacks, because I've got 3 I want to share here. Number 2 is creating a healthy habits tracker. Now, often I would say diet culture and the vast majority of apps on the planet related to food and nutrition are going to have you logging calories and macros and food journals or writing out everything you're eating on paper. And what I want you to do is actually something, again, simpler. When we're talking about a healthy habit tracker, we're talking about, again, tiny little habits that you can literally check off and accomplish within like 30 seconds to 2 minutes. And so I'm going to just flip over to my other view here and show you what a healthy habit tracker actually looks like. And so this is one you can download right off of my website. If you go onto our blog, you read the Healthy Habits article from today's segment, you can download this PDF and get going. And what you're going to do here is you're going to establish one little habit. So maybe you're struggling with packing your lunch. And so maybe the first tiny habit is, once I'm finished supper, I'm going to put my lunch bag on the counter. And that's the only tiny habit you're going to do, because you're going to grow this over time. Once that's become automated, then you're going to start to think about, okay, what am I putting in the lunch? So again, the first habit is not, I'm going to pack my lunch every day. We got to go smaller because when we have to rely on a lot of these bigger changes, it's just really difficult to follow through.
Well, and
You're going to put the date there and just check, and you're off to the races.
And I think writing it down, Andrea, is key sometimes. So we have about 30 seconds. I want to hear this third habit.
Third habit.
Hacker.
What we want to do is go public and celebrate the win. What we know, the American Society of Training and Development says 65% chance of reaching your goal if you actually have an accountability partner. And if you go up to 95%, how you can get there is actually making an appointment with an accountability coach. This could be a friend, a dietitian, someone in your life to really hold you accountable.
Oh, I think that's so great because that is very important as well. If you do have to own up to maybe breaking some of those habits, what great advice. We're always so grateful, Andrea, when you take time for us. Thank you. You can learn more at healthstandnutrition.com. Have a great day.
Thanks for having me.